And welcome to the Glenorchy City Council AGM. I'm Sue Hickey, Mayor of Glenorchy, and I'm the chairperson of tonight's AGM. I will start tonight's proceeding with an acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge the Muanina people as the traditional owners of this land. We recognise the Tasmanian Aboriginal people as the original owners and continuing custodians of the land, sky and country and waters of this island, La Truita. We pay our respect to Aboriginal elders, past and present. We commit to working in a way that welcomes and respects all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. This meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the members of the public. Joining me here tonight in chambers is our latest Alderman. Thank you, Alderman Tim Marks. And we have Alderman Peter Riddler, Alderman Justin Stringer, Council Molly Kendall, our Deputy Mayor Russell Yaxley, we have our Acting CEO Emilio Reali, and we have Alderman Stephen King, Alderman Stuart Slade, Alderman Josh Cockshut and Alderman Shane Alderton. Welcome to members of the public joining us this evening. For those joining us in person, please ensure that you have provided your name and address at the registration desk, which I believe you have. This is so that the minutes of the meeting are accurately recorded as required by the Local Government Act. The primary purpose of the AGM is to present Council's 2023-24 annual report. Questions about the annual report and any other council matters will be answered where possible or may be taken on notice. Answers to any questions taken on notice will be published in the 2025 AGM agenda. However, answers will be provided to you via email or as soon as practical. The AGM provides an opportunity for any elector present to put forward a motion to be voted on by electors, which, if carried, will be considered by Council at the next ordinary council meeting on the 16th of December. Passing a motion at this meeting does not mean it is adopted by Council. It means that Council will consider the motion at its next meeting. Any elector for the Glenorchy City Council area can move or second a motion, and any elector can vote on the motion. An elector is anyone who is enrolled to vote in the Glenorchy local government elections. Now, so everyone is clear, the order of events will be apologies, confirmation of last year's minutes, responses to questions taken on notice from last year, question time, presentation of the 2023-24 annual report, motions. We will have Ms Bryan first and Mr Burrows second and any others third. Before we move to our first order of business, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our newly elected member, Alderman Tim Marks, who joins us following the sad passing of Jan Dunsby and subsequent recount of the 2022 general election. Welcome, Alderman Marks.
Thank you very much.
I'd also like to take this opportunity to again acknowledge the service and dedication of both Alderman Dunsby and Councillor Harry Quick to the City of Glenorchy and to this council. In presenting the annual report this evening, I would like to commend elected members and staff on a productive and successful 23-24 year, and I hope you all feel as immensely proud as I do. Some of our achievements during the reporting period including continuing efforts to ensure Glenorchy is safe, inclusive and welcoming for residents and visitors. Facilitating major investment in the redevelopment of Tolosa Park, transforming a decommissioned water storage facility into a regional recreation area. Ongoing improvements to playgrounds and recreational areas across Glenorchy to support families and young people. Introducing anti-graffiti wraps on public infrastructure, such as signal boxes to combat vandalism. Collaborating with the Tasmanian Police to increase visible policing and target antisocial behaviour hotspots. Improving youth-focused infrastructure, including the Montrose Bay Skate Park and Glenorchy Mountain Bike Park. Providing ongoing mentoring and support to young people through a number of initiatives, both within schools and through activities run on council lawns. Providing practical assistance to businesses in managing safety and responding to antisocial behaviour. Move on to item 2, which is apologies. Do we have any apologies? There being none. Item 3 is confirmation of the minutes of the 2024 AGM. Calling for a mover, thank you, Alderman Alderton. Seconder, thank you. Councillor Kendall, any discussion?
Just that in reading the minutes, they are true and correct, ma'am.
Thank you. In that case, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, raise your hand. Thank you. Carried unanimously.
Well, yeah,
Sorry.
I couldn't vote. I wasn't here.
Okay.
And you wasn't here.
You
So I'll abstain.
abstain. Okay, that's recorded as no.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Only because I wasn't here.
No, that's fine. Doesn't really matter, but yeah. In the agenda, you will see responses to questions taken or noticed from last year's AGM. All question askers were provided with a response following the meeting. Now, item 5 is questions. As chairperson, I have the responsibility to maintain a safe environment for elected members and council staff. So I just ask for a simple commitment from all that any questions or motions put tonight are not to be inflammatory or abusive in any way, and I'm sure they won't be. Please come forward and give your name and address before asking a question. Each person may ask up to 2 questions. Please ensure that your question is succinct and in the form of a question, not a comment. Okay, does anyone wish to come forward and ask a question? Thank you. Would you like to come to the front? If you could state your name and address. Just suburb.
No mic.
Sorry?
In the past, when I was here, there was always a mic. It's nice not to have a mic in front of you.
We have the universal one.
Yeah. James Bryan, England Avenue, Montrose.
Yes.
On page 73 of the annual report for 2023 and 2024, the statement of comprehensive income for the year ending 30th of June 2024 has an item. Net gain, loss on disposal of property, infrastructure, plant and equipment. It lists a budget loss of $2,338,000 and an actual loss of $2,650,000. My question, how is it possible that the Glenorchy City Council has made a loss more than $2.5 million on the sale, disposal of GCC property? What was the total income, cash, received from the sale, disposal of property? What was the total cost, cash, of disposal of this property? Was any property given away, gifted to any party? If so, what was its value?
Thank you. Do you wish to take that on notice or you answer? Acting CEO. Yes, thank you. We will have our CFO, Michael.
Thank you, Amelia.
Sukalowski.
Thank you, sir. Very good question. We will come back to you with the absolute details to all the numbers that you've quoted. However, in summary, a lot of the time when, for example, council goes through its capital program, and when we go and renew some of the existing infrastructure or build new items, if there is existing infrastructure that hasn't been fully depreciated, that particular component has to be derecognised from the fixed asset register. So generally what that means, and a practical example of that is, for example, when a road is being repaired or renewed, if it's, for example, a 1 kilometre road and there is still existing bitumen in place, as well as curbs or footpaths, if they have a value assigned to them, but they need to be fully replaced, we do have to write that down. So as part of a renewal program, that's what happens. So a lot of that loss is relating to some of those asset renewals and replacements. And to answer your question around giving away council assets or anything like that, we don't give away any council assets. We do have a policy in place for the sale of certain council, for example, land, where it's subsequent or surplus to our needs. And obviously the money for that goes actually into a reserve for future investment purposes.
So I'm led to believe that no property, no land has been given away in the last year or two.
I think we just have clarification
I'll
on
follow
that.
that up at another meeting because I have concerns. Can I just come in again? I know what's going on. It's not just depreciation. What occurs is that each piece of property that Glenorchy City Council has is listed in a property asset register. Each piece has a value. When you sell a piece of property, land, that asset value has to be removed from the register, which is currently about $1 billion. But also what happens is that that amount is then taken off, is counted as a cost. So if you sell a piece of land for $1 million that has an asset value of $1.1 million, it immediately means a $100,000 loss.
Okay.
And this is what I want to know. I want to know what the total income in cash is holding money that comes in and out of your bank account. And I want to know exactly what total cost in cash was received for the disposal of that property.
Right, if you'll let me interrupt you there, please, Amelia.
Mayor, we'll take that on notice because that's right, that's part of the story. And also, just like to inform that we actually did make a donation of land to Carity, the Aboriginal Corporation, who actually did donate land from that reserve to them earlier this year or late last year. So we'll actually list that in the response as well.
Yeah, that's
Was a decision of full council.
right. That's all right. My concern is that this makes a difference to the bottom line. If you're using a non-cash amount to reduce what you've received in cash, it makes a significant difference to what you have at the end of the year that you're reporting on.
Yes, we hear your argument. We're not allowed to get into debate though, it's just a
I'm
question.
not debating.
Yeah, thank you. Is that your only question?
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone else got a question for question time? No? In that case, we'll move on to item 6, which is the annual report, presentation of the 23-24 annual report. And I need to seek a mover and a seconder.
I move it, move.
Thank you. So we have Alderman Riddler, and who do we have to second it? Thank you, Alderman Slade. Do you wish to talk to it, Alderman Riddler?
Sorry?
Do you wish to talk to it, the
Actually,
motion?
it's quite comprehensive, but I'd like for the members of the public, we can have a little bit of a synopsis from the acting CEO.
Thank you. Do you want to give a synopsis?
Sure.
Thank you.
I think I have to call for a show of hands first to accept that annual report. Do you want to discuss it first?
Mayor, I'm happy to just give a quick summary
Yes,
of
please.
the report. So last year was a year of achieving a lot of infrastructure projects in the village. We received grant funding for a number of parks and reserves, and a lot of them were actually completed, like Gibbons Reserve, Beachview Park. Some of them actually probably overlapped with this financial year a little bit. We received a grant from the federal government for $1.5 million for 10 reserves, which are all complete, bar one, which I think will be finished very soon. We continued the major project program. We completed a major proportion of the KG5 soccer redevelopment, so the synthetic turfs down, new lighting, new public toilets, new change room, and the final stage of that is now underway, which is the grandstand being modified. North Chigwell soccer ground, the ground has been graded and resurfaced with natural turf, new drainage, new irrigation, new lighting, and the final stage of that one is for the club rooms to be built, which is well underway as well. We completed a mountain bike track redevelopment. We completed a new skate park at Montrose Bay. We provided a multicultural kitchen at the Moona MCOT facility. Tolosa Park, the redevelopment there commenced, and that's still underway, but that's now officially decommissioned as a dam, and that'll be handed over to council next week. We've progressed our waste strategy, and we're on the final stages of having that complete, but we've actually built a new cell at the landfill to ensure the life at the landfill is extended to its maximum capacity, and we're about to do another lift there. We've contributed to a number of submissions to the future local government review, which I know has sort of sat still for a little while, but I think now with the new minister there will be a bit of movement there, so council will be happy to continue to contribute there. We received a number of cultural grants. Our Jobs Hub has continued to just go from strength to strength. We've got numerous people being placed in jobs. Moon Arts Centre has got a 27% increase in visitors over the last year, and we featured 42 unique exhibitions by 430 artists, so that continues to broaden its scope. Childcare Connections, we've completed a number of renovations at the childcares to make it a better, safer, more modern facility, and we're just about to do another redevelopment at the Benjafield Childcare Centre. So I guess that's, in a nutshell, it's quite a lot of projects and development that took place over the last year, and I'm sure if I went down into the finer detail, there'll be a lot of renewal projects that we class as our business as usual. We did spend our whole capital works program, third year in a row. We actually are meeting all of the TAS Audit Office indicators. So as far as our assets go, so we're actually travelling very well on that front. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Acting CEO. On behalf of the council, I think I can commend all of our officers for the brilliant year that we've just heard detailed. Going back to the mover.
Yeah, yes, Mayor. Just wondering, the AG signed off on the report, the financials on the 7th of October. Is there any reason why we can't get it up on our website like 2 months ago? Almost. The annual report. Like the annual report's just come out. Is there any reason why we can't get it up on the website like 30, 60 days before the AGM?
It's already up.
It's up now. But
it is up, yes. But collating the annual report is an extensive, collating the annual report is an extensive piece of work, and to get it all correct, across all of council does take, we need the books to close, the audit part of things to happen, and then all of the other data to be available, to be collated, to then be put into the annual report. It does take some months to prepare.
thanks, sir. Well, I just think we should like to note that, Mayor, that it'd be nice if we could get it out at least 30 days before the AGM onto the website.
I'd love that too.
Yes.
Sorry?
I'd love to do that too.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I'll get the whip out.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. Alderman Slade.
Mayor, the annual report attachment 2 that I've got here, is this the final copy?
Is there a typo?
There's typos in it.
We can correct typos.
Okay.
Immaterial changes can.
There's incorrect things in here too. I just want to bring to your attention, some of these things need clarifying because the community may be a bit lost in relation to how does this happen. I'm just going up to the page that I'm on. Example of one is that, just bring up the page I'm on here. We're all on the planning committee, but it should be spelled out very clearly that the planning committee is made up of 5 representatives. I'm putting myself here on this one. So when you go and look at the Glenorchy Planning Committee, there was 13 meetings held. Then you look at my name and I'm there for 2. Now, without anything else mentioned there, that looks like I haven't appeared for the other 11 meetings. So there needs to be some clear demonstration there that I was called in because there was people away and whatever. So of course that looks like that I've missed 11 meetings. And I won't have that. I won't accept that. So I just want to bring that to your attention for a change. The other one is that Alderton wasn't elected on the 11th of July 2024. That's incorrect. That's incorrect, and that's all the way through. That's incorrect. And there's others there that's probably easy for me, Mayor, if I touch base with somebody. Is that right?
Yes,
But
appreciate that.
I keep want to bring those ones up
Yes.
because does everybody understand where I'm coming from, that planning one?
Absolutely, I hate typos.
No, I mean, talking about the fact that it looks like I've got a legit right for being there. No, it's not a legit right. I filled in or whatever.
So you're a proxy,
But they should have there that clearly explain who's on the planning committee and why there's only the numbers changed. That's all.
So do you need to move an amendment?
I'll be happy if this is going to change. Is this going to change this document?
Yes,
And the other things I've mentioned and the other ones, the mistakes?
we'll definitely get a proofread.
Okay, fine.
Give you my personal comment.
Okay, I'm happy with that, if that's followed through.
Thank you, Alderman River.
Following on with Alderman Slate's query, I think it would be good, like public companies put a table in for governance purposes of the dates of the actual meetings and who attended and who were proxies. So it's a lot more like governance over across a page rather than the list on here, page 61. I think that'd be more appropriate. Then it would show that the proxy was Alderman Slate.
Yes, so I'm going to take that as a question because you've already spoken. Yeah.
Just probably, we need to probably look at how public companies do the layout for their governance side of things.
Yeah, so maybe you should say, could we look at?
Could be. Okay.
Yes, we have rigorous council structure here and you have to ask a question. So I will accept that as a question.
I don't know about Councillor Kendall, I think Councillor's got 2 L's in it, I think. The word, not one.
We'll definitely get that fixed.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any other contributions? Thank you, Alderman King.
yeah, I just want to congratulate the council staff on a great year and we are progressing and my fellow aldermen and councillor and those that have gone before us in Harry and Jan, you know, a lot of work's been done this year, a lot of work is yet to be done, but we're in as good a spot as I think we've been in since I've been around and it's a long time. So I'm grateful for the direction we're heading. We've got really good leadership and so yeah, it's just wanted to say thank you for all we've done.
Fantastic. I totally commend what you're saying. Any other contributions?
Yeah, all right.
Yes, thank you, Alderman Cocksher.
Yeah, I echo Alderman King's statement just then. I think it's been a very busy 12 months for the council and there's a lot of work being done. It feels like it's been a bit of a whirlwind. Obviously, it's great to be in the position we are with the Glenorchy pool, getting the grant from the government and getting the blueprint to what is a fantastic plan would be a great regional space for all southern Tasmania moving forward. So the next 12 months, I'm keen to see us work with all our key stakeholders, state and federal government on what the next iteration of that happens with the pool. Obviously, Tolosa Park, play spaces, Benjafield, that turned out a treat, and there was about 10 other play spaces we've done across the city, and people are loving it. You know, you see people out there with their kids and their families on the weekends. Great time for summer, so no doubt onwards and upwards from that perspective. And that's one of the key messages from the last election was, renewal of our play spaces and parks. I think the Mooner Arts Centre, like the Deputy CEO mentioned before, I think we're starting to see the fruits of the business case and the plan from that perspective. I know I've been a bit critical at times, but I think over the last 12 months there's been a step change in culture in regards to the former MAC or Mooner Arts Centre. So I'm very excited what happens there. Our 2 childcare centres are going from strength to strength as well. I think they were on the ropes in the last council and that's been turned around in our term so far. So congratulations to all the staff involved in that. And finally, the council was recognised as an employer of choice just recently. So it's a testament to the leadership team and the staff and the culture we have as an organisation, which is shining through. So tip my hats off to the council and the officers for the work over the 12 months. I know we all sit around the table, but they're the people who keep the lights on and keep the wheels turning. So thank you very much and look forward to seeing what we can achieve over the course of the next 12 months.
Thank you. Another excellent contribution. Thank you, Councillor Kendall.
Thank you, through you, Mayor. Yep, just to echo Alderman Kopchak's comments there. Last year there were 67 people at the AGM, and I think this year we've only got 4, sadly. But looking back on the minutes, it was quite a contentious time last year. We had the pool really front and centre in everyone's minds, and also the Macca's potential development. So very different landscape this AGM. But in terms of looking at the annual report, also just wanted to echo the hard work that's been done and the progress that's been made, especially huge progress in the community development side of the council. Council manages $1.2 billion worth of assets, and it's really worth a look at this annual report just to see what a mammoth task that is. And I don't think before coming on council I had any real passion for asset renewals, but being behind this desk has really shown me how that fully replacing asset renewals and keeping them up to scratch intervening early really saves you money in the long term. So I'm really proud that our asset renewals are at as high a standard as they are. So I think that's something to be quite proud of. And yeah, thanks to the management for all their hard work.
Thank you. Any further contributions? Thank you. Or Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Absolutely echo what was already been said, and so I won't repeat too much of that. But I just want to thank the elected members around the table. You are all very unique in what you do and what you bring, which is excellent. And I thank you for all your hard work in terms of the reading, the preparation, the insightful ideas and debate that comes from it. So on behalf of the Mayor, if it's okay, so thank you all for showing up and putting Glenorchy on the map and really seeing us come leaps and bounds ahead. So thanks for all your efforts.
That's well said too. Thank you. Any other contributions? Is this a question, Alderman Riddle?
Yeah, in this, maybe the CFO could explain on page 99, we've got a big increase in, excluding rate debtors, we've got a massive sundry debtors increase of from 477,000 to over 3 million. Is there something in particular there with one debtor or?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's one debtor. It's an outstanding grade, which was outstanding in July. So at 30th of June, we raised, I think it was about $2.5 million worth, and that was paid in July.
Oh, that's been paid?
Yeah.
All right, because some years ago we had one particular one over 6 figures, some just a tip fees.
Sorry,
That's
Alderman
not the same
Riddle.
one. That's okay. That's fine. It's answered me. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to move back to the mover of the motion, who is Alderman Riddler, to close the debate.
I'm happy there, and I endorse, as I know, I'm new back on council, but it's a pretty comprehensive report, and I'm very pleased that we're presenting this to the public.
Okay, thank you. So I'll have a show of hands accepting the motion. All those in favour, raise your hands. Carried unanimously. Thank you. Now moving on to item 7. So we have notice of motion by Ms. Janice Bryan on the disposal of public land and rate increase. Do we have an answer to that? Yes. No? It's quite a big one. So you want to come forward to move your motion? So what I need you to do, Ms. Bryan, yes, is just state your name and suburb, and then you can move your motion, please.
Can I speak to it or not?
Yes. Yes, I don't think we can close the door because we're in open council. Sorry.
Just a vacuum from the gun.
Yes.
Speak out loud, Denise.
So you have to move the motion and then it must be seconded before you can speak to it. So if you'd like to move it, I'm pretty confident you'll have a seconder.
No, I'd like to move the motion in regard to the disposal of policy, the policy in regard to the disposal of council land. And the other one is to do with the calculation of rate increases. Because clearly what has happened with the valuations is not appropriate for ratepayers to be subjected to what's happening with that.
Okay, so if I can just get a seconder. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. So we have a seconder. You can continue to speak.
Thank you.
I'll just proceed then. Okay, I've got a copy here for all the aldermen.
I just have to warn you, I'm really sorry. I should have said this first up. 2 minutes.
Right, I've got a copy of the previous workflow that clearly shows that the details around the disposal of the land need to come back to the full council for approval and resolution before you proceed with the disposal of the land. Okay, now that has changed on the new policy in October 23, and why and how it complies is another issue. But I'll just proceed with what I've written here. It clearly shows the necessity for a full and final report to be provided to Aldermen after the completion of the S178 process for Aldermen to resolve to proceed with the disposal, as the delegations based on the Local Government Act confirm that only Aldermen can have the delegation to consider market valuations, sale price, and the method of either donating, sale or lease of public land. Will the policy and workflow sheet be corrected to ensure all final details of the disposal are transparent and will be approved by an absolute majority of aldermen in open council meetings, which is provided in the legislation, which I've referenced in the motion. So all of that is detailed in the motion. And I'd just like to say it is just common sense that one person should not determine the appropriate sale price or method of disposal of our public land and assets without transparency. And that's basically what is occurring. So I'd like to also ask or put on notice, have aldermen taken independent advice on their statutory obligations in relation to the disposal of public land, and who did they obtain that advice from?
Okay, I think we'll have to take that one on notice. Is that right with you, Acting CEO?
Yes, please. That's fine.
So there's my 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So you'll be advised shortly of the answer.
Thank you. I'll leave that for the alderman to have a copy of the previous disposal of land workflow, which clearly shows that it must come back to council.
Thank you very much.
I also,
Oh, sorry, we do have a
There's
question.
please. Where did that come from, your flow, your workflow? Sorry, I missed.
it's out of the attachments on the 28th of September 2020.
Right.
And also, I'd like to show you, I have a copy of the delegations, and clearly the general manager does not have the delegation to dispose of land.
Sorry, that's the, sorry, I'm not allowed to let you go into debate.
No, I'm just saying, I have.
I do have a question from Alderman Alderton.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Thank you, Ms. Bryant. I take seriously anything a member of the public brings to council. And when we have council meetings and we vote on motions, we are very detailedly briefed. So we have papers we read with a wealth of information. I've had a look at your motion and I do take it seriously in regards to what you've written here. However, I don't have the information I need if this motion is passed and goes back to the council at the next council meeting to formally make another decision at the council meeting. I'll give you an example. You make mention of a property here, example 1. A Glenorchy property shows valuation of $886,000 after completion of Section 178 process. The sale price was reduced to accept $500,000 by a majority vote of council. However, the contract price shows $195 for the sale. This is presumably without the knowledge of the council and aldermen. What I would really appreciate before we decide this at the next council meeting, if it does pass the motion here today, is can you elaborate further, Ms. Bryant? Can you tell me what property you're talking about, where it's
I
located.
don't think it's appropriate for that here, if that's
Okay.
okay. So we're not going to be debating this motion.
No.
No, I'm not debating,
I'd just like
I'm
to
asking for
answer.
information so I can make an
Well,
informed decision.
I'm sorry, I'm the chair, and we've already got the motion and we've put the motion. And so, I understand your concerns, Alderman Alderson, but I just don't think it's appropriate to get into any debate. We have to rely on professional officer advice.
Can I just make a point that I did supply all that information and it wasn't included? I did,
We'll
there's
look
an
into that.
attachment and it's all on the
Are you happy
attachment.
to email the information?
I will
Thank you.
email it to everyone and it wasn't included. I'm just telling that.
Okay, we'll make sure everyone gets it.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to put that motion. All those in favour, raise your hand.
Can I ask a point of order first?
Yes.
Sorry. So the motion we're voting on, is it to approve this motion or it's going to the
No,
council?
we're taking it on notice.
Right, cool. Thanks.
You take on notice?
Yes, we were.
No.
Because to me, this reads that we're approving this motion.
Yeah.
No, sorry, we'll have to take it on notice. So what happens then?
So you're taking the
Because
questions
you-
on notice, but not the motion. If we approve the
Sorry.
motion, we're approving the motion. Sorry, Josh.
You know, usually it says receive a note or bring, or I think last year was bring to the next council member. Here, this reads to me as, that's the motion, point 1, point 2, point 3. And if we vote in the affirmative, this becomes
The motion.
the motion approved by council. It's not to go to the next council meeting, it's to approve this on the spot. That's how that reads.
You
to
can
me.
explain that at the beginning.
This is to, sorry.
No, I just would like to hear from either the acting CEO or Emma.
Mayor, this is to, endorse the motion and then to be considered by council and response provided at the next council meeting.
That's okay. I just wanted clarity because to me that read as if though we're actually approving that motion, points 1, 2 and 3.
No,
Mayor, we said that we'd take it on notice to give us a chance to check the policy. I've just downloaded the policy while we've been looking.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's good.
And so we can provide a bit more of a comprehensive response.
Yeah.
At the next council meeting, if the motion is endorsed for consideration.
I'm happy with that. I just wanted to get clarity, that's all.
thank you.
Through you, Mayor, so we're actually just voting on that we are taking on notice. That's all.
Yes, we just.
And report back to the next council meeting. Because I agree with my opposite, Alderman.
Yes,
So you need a mover and a second at the
yes,
table.
I know.
We've got to do, we got
A
that.
mover and seconder,
We're not to that.
sorry?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
That's the motion.
So we've got Mrs. Bryant and Mr. Bryant. But what you'd like to do is move an alternate motion to
No,
say.
we take Ms. Bryant's motion, it should be that we're taking her proposal, taking it on notice, and to bring it back to the next council meeting.
Well, our response is that we're taking it on notice.
Yeah.
So, do you want a new motion?
Mayor, we
Just point of order, just to, Emma, do you, Emma just want to explain?
Through you, if you don't mind. So the motions that we have on this slide and on the next slide are being brought by electors, and they can word them, any elector can bring a motion and can word them however they choose to word them. This is how the 3 motions brought by Ms. Bryan have been worded. The Act gives us the requirement to bring them to the next council meeting. You around the table don't need to decide to do that. That's already decided for you. All electors present, including those in the gallery, can vote on this motion as well, not just elected members around the table. So you can choose to vote abstain, vote yes, vote no, abstain, and to do with it. And then if a majority of electors present do vote on these 6 motions that we've got tonight, then they'll be brought to the December meeting. And if they're not, then they'll lapse, they'll be noted in the minutes, but they won't be carried and they won't be brought to the December meeting, where you'll receive from council officers qualified advice, like we did last year with the McDonald's motions and the full motions and a few others that came through as well. And that's where you'll be making your decisions that you would usually make, that are receive a note or instruct or whatever it might be, in the usual wording that would be coming from a recommendation of a council officer.
That's all right. I just wanted, that makes clarity. I just want to double check. Cool. Thanks.
Right, so, Alderman Midler, are you satisfied?
Yeah, as long as it's just taken on notice, that's fine.
Okay, so all of that opinion, raise your hand. So you're abstaining? Yes, thank you. Anyone else? No, it's carried not unanimously. Those not in favour, raise your hand. You're abstaining. Okay, so that's declared in the negative. And Mr. Steenberg, I was going to call you Alderman Steenberg. You're abstaining, you're voting negative. Okay, so you record that. Thank you. Now we'll ask Mr. George Burrows if he'd like to come forward with his motion, please. And the same situation will apply, just for clarification.
Thank you.
Mr. Burrows, you have to, I know where you live, but you have to state your name and where you live.
Sorry?
You have to state your name and where you live.
Okay. George Burrows, Rosetta.
Thank you. And you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. It's interesting to see some faces from previous councils. So some of you might remember me promoting some of these motions in the past. My apologies, I wear hearing aids and that turned right up, but the acoustics in this room are not very good for people with hearing aids, and whatever that system is, doesn't work for hearing aids. Okay, I have been advocating for a more appropriate form of rate payments in line with the other motion there for some years. That is based on the fact that councils provide services to individual ratepayers as such, and services to the citizens of Glenorchy municipality, of which we all contribute in a direct or indirect way through our rates or through tenancy costs, etc. To base the rates as they seem to be at the moment, completely on AAV, seems a very unfair system. I could emphasise that if you paid registration on your cars on their market value.
Sorry, Mr. Burrows, you have to move it and I have to get a seconder. My apologies.
Sorry. Okay. I'd like to move the 3 motions that are before you then.
Thank you. Just for procedural, can I have someone seconder, please? Thank you, Mr. Bryant. Please proceed.
Sorry about that.
It's my fault, I think.
It's, so I won't go any further on that. I believe that this system is inappropriate and needs to be modernised more in line with how other systems of charges are, such as Taswater, around Aurora, etc., where there is a fixed charge and there is some flexibility in it. So that's the first one. We stop at that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, no, sorry, you continue. You can move the 3 together.
Sorry?
You can move all of them. You're moving them all together.
Under many mayors back, automatic deductions for rates were implemented. To our amazement and disappointment at that first meeting, we were told in no uncertain terms that it was only for debit cards, not for credit cards. Over that 25 years or so, I have pursued this issue and many other ratepayers pursued it. Sadly, they've dropped by the wayside in more ways than one in that period. Nobody has actually been able to explain why it can't be done. It's done by many other organisations that automatically deduct from credit cards. And I have been told unofficially by a couple of members of staff that the provisions have been made to be able to do so, but it doesn't seem to have been introduced. I also have a letter which I mentioned that I've lost in my recent move, saying that it was going to be introduced about 10 years ago. We're still waiting. I would like to see that whole issue raised again and put into effect.
Thank you. And your final one is about the citizen.
Right, final one. I have been pushing for open workshops for many years, and the citizens' juries, and my sincere congratulations on having the open workshops at long last. I think they're a very important part of councils and give the ability of citizens to contribute in a way that can tell a personal story. Citizens' juries are a bit of an extension of that, and obviously would need to be used with care because they are going to be a cost somehow or other, where you provide a number of citizens with information from the experts on issues of controversy, not necessarily of controversy, but future directions for the council. Many of them do become controversial, sadly, afterwards. But this means that you have a greater number of community inputs, and those inputs feed back into the society so that you'll get a more positive support from that society. They've been implemented in many councils, and they've been implemented in a couple of parliaments around the world and even in Australia.
Thank you. Thank you. So is there any discussion from anyone? Mr. Bryan.
A second to Mr. Burrows' motion. Can I just point out that Mr. Burrows is talking about implementing a working group, which is probably a very worthwhile thing to consider. Just very briefly, I think that some of you may be aware that some people got very significant rate rises the last time around. Some of it just did not make sense. Now, that's got nothing to do with the council, it's not your fault. But some people suffered quite badly, rates increasing by at least twice as much as they were. And I suspect that the body that was used to do this was just using Google Maps, like they do when they come to.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, we're not allowed to have anything that's defamatory or.
Well, it wasn't.
Okay, so any further discussion? Alderman Marks?
Yes, on the public jury system, that's what we are here as aldermen of council. We're voted in by the public, and any issues can be brought to us. But previously there was the precinct committee, which I was once the president of, which can be brought back up again if there's enough people that want to attend. But we're getting people to attend these events, and that is the problem. Like when I last had my last precinct committee, there was 3 people turned up.
Thank you. Alderman Alderton?
Okay, I have a question, Mayor. Thank you. Probably going to direct it to the acting CEO. So it's in regards to point 2. So my understanding is really that's an operational matter, not an elected member matter, firstly. And secondly, under Project Hudson, wouldn't we be able to accommodate and facilitate that service once Project Hudson's implemented automatically?
Yeah, I'll ask the CFO to respond.
Yeah, and look, we'll provide a full answer to this. Obviously, the question is on notice, but just to sort of summarise, when taking credit card payments, there are a number of different things to consider. The first one is obviously cybersecurity risk, PCI requirements around data capture, and then obviously the underlying system that needs to be able to be implemented to process automatic credit card payments. At the moment, we do obviously provide an ability for ratepayers to pay rates using the credit card. It's not an automated monthly deduction, but it's something that can be done if you walk into customer service or call and pay over the phone. We obviously provide other payment services for everyone to pay their rates, whether it's using BPay, where you can use your credit card to pay proposed bill pay. Those are just a few. There are some challenges in terms of Project Hudson, because again, that would actually require a step up in our IT environment to be able to have the right sort of cybersecurity features and the right sort of environment to be able to support those credit card payments. So it is a question around weighing up the pros and the cons and the cost involved in that, because there would be some significant costs to bring us up to be able to provide that on a regular basis.
Yes, I'll allow that.
So what's the difference between the security of a credit card and a debit card?
I'll take that question on notice.
Thank you. Thank you. We are trying to be a modern council and we will look at every option for you. So, any other discussion? Alderman Redlon?
Can I ask through you, Mayor, what's Project Hudson been the new boiler block again?
And that's a complete rewrite of our computer system. It's a major project of council.
Thank you.
Okay, we can get you a briefing if you like.
Thank you. I
Okay.
appreciate that, mate.
Probably Alderman Marks would like to join you. Okay, I'm going to put, is there no further discussion? I'm going to put the motion. All those in favour, raise your hand. Right, it's not unanimous. Those against, raise your hand. No. And those abstaining, could you just show your hand so we could just work out who you are? Right. So we have the Deputy Mayor, we have Alderman Cockshut and Alderman Alderton. And I think it's carried. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, it's carried. So we'll be discussing it, bringing it forward to the next meeting. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to move a motion? No, thank you. Okay, well, if that's the case, I'm happy to say that we can have an early moment, and it is my great pleasure to close this annual general meeting and wish you all the very best and look forward to seeing you at next year's AGM. Thank you.
Very good.